Hi everyone, thanks for joining me on my process video 2. This is a layout I did with the January Scraptastic Club kit. And normally I would show you all the product I was going to use at the beginning. However, I completely changed my mind and did a completely different direction, so I figured it wasn't important to show you all that. So what I'm going to do first here is I'm going to add some gesso to this little piece of plastic packaging and then add some Mr. Huey's Mist just to tint that gesso a little bit to give it a little color, and then I'm going to end up wiping it on the background paper. And that paper is from the Scraptastic Club kit. It's an exclusive paper. I really like this paper. It's one of my favorites from the kit. But I thought it was a little bit busy for this layout, so I wanted to add a little bit of the gesso behind the picture and the cluster of cardstock, just to give it a little added texture and to kind of cover up and give it a place to land. This beauty die cut that I showed you very briefly is a silhouette cut that I had in my stash. I believe it's from the Silhouette store. I'm not quite sure. I've cut it out a long time ago. What I do is I cut up a lot of the silhouette die cuts ahead of time and I just put them in a box, and then when I'm ready for them, I just color them with the mist that I like. So that's kind of where that came from. So what I'm doing now is I picked out some cardstocks and some pattern paper, and I'm just roughing up the edges to give a little bit of texture. With it being a naturey background or a picture, I thought it'd be nice to have kind of a more rough edge to the paper. And again, all these papers are from that January Scraptastic kit. And I want to apologize up ahead. This video is a little bit more choppy than my first one. I was having a couple problems. One, I had a video that got corrupted, and then my daughter was home and she was interrupting me a lot, so I was starting and stopping the camera a lot, so I apologize for that. Here I'm just taking that yellow paper and I miscut it at first, so I just cut it shorter and then I trimmed it in half or cut it in half, and I used some on the top and the bottom, and you never noticed that I even made a mistake. And here I'm just taking a little edge distressor tool and roughing up the edges of all the paper. And then I'm going to then take my finger and then kind of crinkle up the edges and rough up the edges even more. So that's what I'm doing here. Once I complete getting all this roughed up and ripped up a bit, I'm going to take a Prima chalk ink in knotted wood and add that to all the edges. So this picture is actually taken of a little seagull that I met when I was in Boston earlier this year, or I guess in November of last year. And I was by myself, and this one and another little seagull just came up to me and let me sit there and talk to him and take pictures of him. And I just really love nature, so it was fun to hang out with the seagulls. Here I'm taking my sprays and coloring in the die cut, and the spray was clogged, so what I ended up doing was just opening it up and using my paintbrush. I'm going to end up changing the color on this, but I kept this in because I wanted to show you there's options. If your sprayers get clogged, you can always use your paintbrush and dab it on. And what I'm going to first do is use a Heidi Swapp mustard for the color, and that's going to be too yellow. So I'm going to end up changing that to the Heidi Swapp gold, and I'm going to like that color a lot more, and it's just going to look better on the layout. So that's what I'm doing now. Once I spray it, I'm going to let it dry, and I'm using a watercolor paper, and that holds up a lot better than a cardstock, so that's why spraying this many times didn't really affect the die cut at all. So here I'm just going to dry it off, and then next you're going to see me placing it on the page. And so here's my layout. The little clouds that you see also are from a die cut that I cut with my silhouette on that I had in my stash, so I just kept those out. Those are sprayed really lightly with a blue mist. And here's where I was talking about, you're going to see me inking up all the edges of my paper with that Prima knotted wood chalk ink. And I don't know if you can hear it or not, but my kitten is on the kitchen table chewing on one of my notepads. He is crazy. He's the little kitten that was in my first process video, Denali. So if you hear him, I apologize. I'm going to make him stop now, because the last thing I need him to do is chewing and eating up my notebook. Anyway, back to the layout. So what I'm doing now is I'm just placing my cluster of photos and paper and then gluing down all those die cuts. I'm using my Scotch Quick Dry glue, and I think I'm going to be ordering one of those really AccuPoint or AccuFine glue bottles from Amazon. So that's what I'm going to do soon, I think. I'm going to order that once I have enough to order from Amazon, because I'm getting tired of it clogging up on me. And plus this bottle is getting pretty low, so it clogs even worse now that it's been open for a while. I pretty much think that's probably why I'm having all the problems. So I'm just going to finish gluing this down. And sorry, I had to stop the recording a couple times, so if I repeat myself, I apologize. Here, I just like using this glue too, the liquid glue, because it's easy to get down on the little thinner pieces. So that's why I decided to use that. And then here, next, I'm going to struggle with different things to put on this layout. I'm going to try 20 million different embellishments. I'm going to try different papers. And I really find that the background is just so busy on this layout that it ends up being best if I just keep it kind of simple. So really all I'm going to do is add a little bit of washi tape and some cork embellishments and some enamel dots and then call it quits. But first I'm going to try a couple more things. I'm going to trim off what is that called? That strip at the bottom. I'll end up trimming that off and then adding a yellow piece of paper at the top right of the layout just to tie in the top layout to the rest of the cluster. I felt like something was missing. And then I'm also going to mist with the Heidi Swapp Gold Mist that I used on the Beauty die cut, and then also with the blue Studio Calico Mr. Huey's mist that I used to color in the gesso. So once I do that, then I'm going to move on to that little yellow strip of paper, I believe. Yep. So I'm going to add that on. I'm going to also distress that and add the Knotted Wood ink so it ties in with the yellow that I distressed in the photo cluster. That's what I'm doing right now. And I'm going to try a couple different things up here, but I'm just going to end up using some washi tape and, like I said, a couple other little embellishments that you're going to see in a few minutes. So I just glue that down and then kind of move on. Here you're going to see that I'm going to grab this washi tape. It is a cork washi tape. I really like it. It's a really neat texture. However, it is a pain in the butt to get off the roll. It was really, really stuck. I have some washi tape that get like that. Do you guys have that problem where, you know, you try to get off the roll and it's like really extra glued? So I just added the washi tape to a couple different areas of the layout, up at the top and to the bottom left and the top right of the photo cluster, and that's kind of where my embellishments are going to land, so it's just a little place for the cork and the enamel dots to land. So next you're going to see that I'm going to add the cork. The cork pieces, or the stars, came from the Scraptastic January kit, and then the enamel dots are Teresa Collins, and they came from Joann's, and they're just from my stash. So I'll be adding that on next. And here's my enamel dots. I just keep them in a little bitty little container just so I can file through them really easily. That's really all the enamel dots I have. Plus I have a few homemade ones that I made with those perler beads. So I'm going to add this, little blue stars, and like I said, the gold stars are from Teresa Collins. And then next I'm going to show you a couple close-ups of the layout. I'm going to show you through these, and then you'll also see some pictures at the very end. I just want to say thank you so much for all my new subscribers that have come on since my first process video. I really appreciate all the wonderful, lovely comments you guys have left. It really makes me smile to think that I'm, helping people out and sharing what we do. I love the community, what I've seen so far with other YouTubers, so I really, really appreciate everyone, and thank you so much for watching. If you liked the video, give me a thumbs up, and if you have any questions, leave some comments below. Thank you. Have a great night. Bye-bye.